Morning. That time again. I'm checking the black cheek waxmole nest up here, which should be the first eggs to hatch. But I keep hearing sounds over here. And sometimes the parent black cheeks, they do that trilling in the nest. But the chicks have this very slightly squeakier version of that when they're begging. It's like a little tiny baby squeaky toy. I can't do it. And I kind of think I might have chicks over there. So that's what the camera's set up to watch while I'm working today. Just to see if I can tell. Let's check these guys. Okay, so 4 eggs, no chicks yet. But they all look fertile. The other thing I might do. Okay. So, I know I'm not supposed to check the quailfinch nest. But I did check the one, and I'm pretty sure there was nothing going on and there's no eggs in there. So that's good because I'm hoping to clean that whole area this weekend. And I would feel obligated not to if there were eggs. I need to do it. And I'm not going to check that nest because I don't need to. I can protect that if I'm careful about how I clean. So, okay, you guys watch them. These guys should be hatching probably tomorrow. We're starting to hatch, I hope. See you later. Okay, well, thanks for watching. I agree. No indication that there's any chicks. I can always try and run the boroscope up there later and double check, but I'm pretty sure there's nothing. I appreciate you watching. Let's move on. Okay, so if you want the backstory specifically about this quailfinch pair, I made a separate video about that because there's some interesting things going on that I do not understand. But generally, this is the first pair that was identified. The female is Angry Bird, who I probably will have to rename now. And they now have 2 eggs at the time of me just doing this. By the time you see it, this video, hopefully they'll be incubating. And my other nest, other quailfinch nest, is, as I mentioned, a hopeful nest. This is the blue band male. He doesn't have a female who's collaborating with him, but the other female in the aviary is purple band, and she seems to hang out with him. She's just not interested. So either she's being suppressed by the more dominant female, or she's just not ready yet, or just not interested. And then the other male and female pair I pulled out, and they're in the bird room for now, hanging out just to reduce some of the potential strife. So we'll see what comes from out of those guys. One thing that's interesting about the quailfinch nests is that the second one that I showed you is actually built directly on the epoxy. And there's just a little hollow, and there's a little ring of epoxy, and then the nesting material is built up around it. And the same thing is true on the bark that the other nest was built on. So somebody reminded me that, and I can't remember who, maybe it was Bond, that reminded me that they would want some light colored, fine nesting material, not just the burlap. And so that's what you see here is a big old pile of sisal, and also 2 different kinds of coconut fiber, which I do not like to use, and I'll explain why in a second. There's the bleached coconut fiber, that's what actually the quailfinch is preferring, and then there's the unbleached, a little tiny pile of it. Okay, the sisal fibers I make from rope. I unravel it into semi-individual strands or little clumps. You can see the twin spot here is picking from the pile. And although it is very thin, it is stiff, and it more or less makes straight sections of fiber, and that conforms to the inside of the nest nicely generally, and can be configured and turns into a nice little bowl. What I don't like about the coconut fiber is, although the unbleached fiber is thicker and the white fiber is about the same thickness as the sisal, it comes in a tangle. And I have had problems with birds getting tangled in the fibers. So that makes me nervous to use it. I generally don't. Most of my species are fine finding little feathers and whatnot. In fact, I like the little white feathers that I get out of, just cleaned down, cut up goose feathers for that. You might have seen, if you saw the Peters twin spots, that's what I used for them to line their nest. I just feel more comfortable with it. But anyway, obviously these guys are liking it, because if you look at the pile before and after, you'll understand that it's well used and everybody seems fine. Okay, so that's the update for this week. Nothing happening with the twin spot pairs, nothing with Peter and Molly, as I already explained. Didn't expect to have anything, and nothing with the pintails, although I see them every now and again. They are very, very skittish of me still. But they have learned to land on multiple surfaces, so that's something. So I do have one piece of bad news. I mentioned my gold-breasted waxbills were sitting on a nest, 4 eggs, but I lost Sven, my male, this week, very unexpectedly. Seems like he may have just died of old age. He's been with me from the very beginning. He taught me a lot. He was a great dad. He was a connection to a really good time when the aviary was brand new. And I'm going to miss him a lot. And it's kind of a private thing, so I'm sharing at the very end of the video. But I didn't want to let his passing go unacknowledged. So thank you, Sven. I'm going to miss you, buddy.